demonstration of Wirecast.
Straight from the mud, could I switch up? I worked hard and asked for it. I with that recipe to Jack
All right, welcome to the Real Cheetah Project. It's Real Cheetah Boy, and we are back for the episode. And this is a pop-up live stream for your ass, because right now we're getting down to it. We're going to do the award ceremony for 2017 on the Real Cheetah Project. How about that? So again, it's Real Cheetah Boy. Welcome. It's the Real Cheetah Project, and we do a little thing here called Comic Book Wednesday, and this is the culminating project, if you can call it that, on for Comic Book Wednesday. So we got a lot to talk about. I think we have in plus somewhere around 50 comic books to touch in some way or another. Now we're not going to sit here and dissect 50 comic books, but there are 50 comic books that are involved in this whole thing. So stand by. Also, that being the case, shout out to you for listening, and then also really run my bit. But also, who's gonna be running the bit throughout this is Wirecast. So this is like this. This little chick is gonna show up every 5 minutes or so. She's really annoying, but I'm sorry about that. It's a demo. The real thing costs quite a bit of coin, and I'm trying to figure out whether or not I really want to go through with that. I'll figure it out during the off season. That being the case, that's a good segue. The off season of the project is going to start November 30, and I won't see you guys again until Easter Monday. But during that time, I will be doing Comic Book Wednesday still ongoing. It's just be kind of like the off season of Comic Book Wednesday as well. So my whole window is from January 1st to technically October 31st, but in this instance, a little bit of leeway time is given because comic books are a little difficult. But for the music awards that we did on the project, on the podcast, that's going to go from January 1st to October 31st. Okay, so keep that in mind. So everything I'm talking about is in that window, and everything's out of that window. I'm sorry, I can't read everything, and I don't want to have to bring a whole 12 months of books to the table either. So I have to do it that way in seasons. All right. So that being the case, a few housekeeping things here as well. I got like I said, I got to run my bit here. So shout out to Goku. The last Goku is coming up this Monday. So please feel free to to check and see how those things are going, especially during the off season, and so you can catch up. That's part of the reason why I'm taking this break, so people can catch up on all the content that's out there. Okay, and then also we're looking at Teams and Sega. All right, so Teams and Sega all day, and then also check me out on iTunes.
The demonstration of Wirecast.
Check me out on Twitter. Always for comments, suggestions, what have you, any kind of rebuttals on my music choices for the year, the comic book choices for the year, any of the AMVs you've seen, and then also just in general, just tell me how you live it. Tell me about how your life is going, what kind of values that you're trying to bring to the table, what kind of message you're trying to get out there, what kind of project you're working on, so we can, get that shit pumped out together, right? And then also, again, there's Stitcher. And then, then it's Hail Mary Squad always. And then also a few other shout-outs here. Shout-out to Tequila Ocho. If you see this logo, that's really, really good tequila. I would pick that up, okay? So they've been down with the project for a while now. And then also shout-out to Suerte Tequila as well, which I'm currently drinking right now. I'm drinking this Añejo. So I love tequila. I haven't brought a lot of tequila to the show, but I'm working on how to do that more next season, all right? So shout-out to Tequila Ocho and shout-out to Suerte Tequila, all right? And then also, shout out to the homeboy Kyrie Irving, right? Man, I got nothing respect for this guy. Really enjoy what he's doing in Boston. Looks like he's fucking elite, like he's finally living out his dream. It was rough going there at Cleveland when he first got there. Then it got rough going, even rougher going when another person got there. But now he's in Boston, and it seems everything's working. Shout out to Gordon Hayward for because I wish he was out there on the court too to see how this really will play out. But shout out to all Boston Celtics and Kyrie Irving for holding it down. That being the case, I drop an AMV every day. I've been dropping AMV every day in November. I didn't drop one today on YouTube because this one is up. I have a Kyrie Irving AMV up on Vimeo. So the link is on the description for this episode. So please feel free to check that out. Please, if you're into basketball, if you're into hip hop, if you're into some okay editing, please feel free to check that out and spread the word on that. Man, I really want to get a lot of eyes on this. I mean, not a lot of people can get into anime. And the way I be doing anime with AMVs, I understand that. The way I be doing animes with hip hop and stuff like that, I mean, I get that. That's not gonna be everybody's shit. But you know,
This is a
basketball is, you know,
demonstration
I think
of
it's something
Wirecast.
everybody can sit down and tangibly understand in their mind, not necessarily an anime, right? So please share this video. It's on Vimeo. And speaking of Vimeo, I'm going to start slowly releasing during the off season, just so I can give people something, you know, while you know I'm cultivating other things in between Comic Book Wednesdays during the off season of the project, which is going to happen November 30. I'm going to start slowly releasing Kenshins on Vimeo too. So all my Kenshin AMVs are going to slowly start being released on
This is a
Vimeo too. So
demonstration of
once you check to
Wirecast.
this Kyrie Irving AMV or BMV basketball music video, I would subscribe on the Vimeo side and wait for Kenshins to start rolling out too. So it's back to the AMV lifestyle. All right. I want to do more Kyrie Irving videos, so if you like that one, stay tuned. All right. Also, shout out to Ziggy's Pizza in Wichita. They do really good work. It's really beast stuff. So I would, if you ever in Wichita, I would definitely check them out.
This
And then
is a
also,
demonstration of Wirecast.
shout out to the squad. All right, and by that I mean, hold on a second. Let's see here. I have a whole, you don't know how many images I have in this feed right now, so I gotta find the image I'm looking for. So stand by. So be patient with me in this feed, because you know I know the Wirecast chick is yelling her set the whole time, and I'm trying to find the marker I had in here, and it's really frustrating me that it's not pulling up right away.
Demonstration of
All right, but that being the case, shout out to, you know, the Go Flex AMV squad. Like seriously, shout out to the team. You know, let me go ahead and get some of that highlighted for you guys. Hold on a second here, because I don't want to leave nobody out. All right, so shout out to the Overmind, straight up, and anybody in them screaming right now, they are definitely squatted, and they're definitely Go Flex AMV squad. That's what I like to call the people that, you know, are really on the team and support and do AMVs, and we try to help each other, push each other's AMVs, and work out there and comment on each other's stuff, and hopefully we can become more and more of a team, and this can be a thing. So shout out to the Overmind. All right, always shout out to Pachuco Knight, definitely. Shout out to Carefree X. She doesn't do AMVs. She does other stuff. She does things more catered towards, you know, the female population, but she still Go Flex AMV squad too. So shout out to Carefree X. Also shout out to, let's see, shout out to Channel Rirua. So that's CHANNEL/RIRUA. Dude, they do really good electronic music on there. I'm sure you'll find something on there you like. So shout out to that channel as well. All right, and then also shout out to Music Jokerkun. So that's MUSICJOKERKUN. All right, and then also shout out to Music Star Anime Channel. Man, I almost forgot you, bro. My bad, but I didn't. So I'm happy about that. Music Star Anime Channel. Shout out to them. I'm gonna try to get everybody featured on my side on my channel. That's not on theirs already, but pretty much everybody that I mentioned so far, almost everybody is featured on my channel. So all you gotta do is just look at my channel and see who's my featured channel list, and these people should be on there, all right? And then also, yeah. So let's see, is there anybody else? I want to say. Rian Sama. I'm trying to find the channel. Okay, yeah, RIANZ SAMA. Rian Sama. They show the boy love too. So shout out to you. All right, anybody who's listening, anybody showing the boy love, I really appreciate. Okay, so because here's the thing, and I was thinking about this today, and I'm giving you a little bit of inference on where my mind's going, especially for an episode I'm doing on a podcast later. So I'm feeding you a little bit of forward here. All right, you got a lot of stuff going on in your life. You know, you probably got somewhere between 8 to 10 hours of work. You dig, and then you also, you know, got family to take care of. you got to sleep somewhere in there, and then what else? Food, sex, and then after all those things are taken care of, you probably only have like what 5 hours or so if you sleep over the night and you want to be fresh for work. You probably have like what, like 5 hours or so of your time that you can do your thing, drink your tequila, or watch your favorite TV show, or read your comic books, or read your regular books, or play your video games, or watch your movies, or all that stuff. You probably only have 5 hours of the day to do that. Everything else is tied up with fulfilling your needs and making sure that you got everything you need to make your life comfortable, right? So you might feel that 5 hours is even more sex, or even more food. But you have a 5 hour window for yourself. So anybody who's taking their time out right now in their 5 hour window, or has taken their time out, their 5 hour window, to donate to my AMVs, donate to Comic Wednesdays, donate to the podcast, man, I really appreciate it, man. Your time is everything, and I hope one day I can get to a level to where I can do something tangibly for you, like seriously, because I really, really appreciate it, because everybody's out here trying to get your attention in those 5 hours that you have, right? And even outside of those 5 hours, people are always trying to get your attention with advertising and whatever else. There's 18 million podcasts, there's 18 million YouTube channels. So for you to spend time right here is really, really beneficial to me. I really, really appreciate it. And I really don't know how else to say, but thank you, because you have a lot of things to fulfill your time. You have a lot of obligations. You have a lot of other things you're into. So, and a lot of other YouTube channels and a lot of other podcasts. So, I'm surprised I get any listens or any views, granted all that. So I really, really appreciate it. Okay. So let's get to this. I'm going to try to make this as precise as possible. That being the case, I can only do me on this. I can only do me on this project. I can't do you, and I can't do any books that I have not read. I can only do what I have read, and I can only do me. So I'm very, very open and welcome to opinions on what I got right or what I got wrong. But as far as how I deliver things, I can't help that. I got a comment the other day. I think I got my first hate comment the other day, about my delivery. And I can't help that. This is just me. This is what it is. So, but I can try to give you much as the facts as possible. But as far as changing how I bring those facts, I can't help that. But I can only speak on comic books that I've read. I can't speak on everything because I have not read everything. So if you've been following Comic Book Wednesdays up to this point, you might know where this is going, and if you haven't, then welcome, and hopefully you can catch up and join us next season on the project. All right. So that being the case, let me get my categories out, and we'll get right going. Like I said, we got an excess of about 50 comic books to touch in some way or another. So let's get started. All right. So, and I can't tell you how hard this was to do. Especially when you have literally 100 comic books strewn across your room, trying to figure out who needs to be where and what was better than what. This was really difficult to do, and a lot of these decisions I'm making on the fly right now. So, bear with me, okay? But hopefully I can make this legit, okay? So, first category, and also visit the podcast for the music awards. Okay, I think that went fairly well, and I'm really interested in hearing feedback on that as well. So everything's all linked up on the bottom. All right, so let's get right into this. Okay, so let's see. Let's start with worst single issue of the year, in my opinion, or that we've read so far on the project. Because we can only read. I can only do what I read, right? And nominee number 1, The Scarlet Spider, number 1, Ben Reilly. Okay. Number 2, nominee number 2. I have to find it here. Give me 1 second, because there's a lot of images in here. X-Men Blue, number 12. All right, this was a really hard category to try to bring to the table, but I feel like it's necessary. Sorry, I had to grab a stack here. I feel like it was necessary because not everything was not. We read a lot of good books this year. We've read a ton of good books this year on the project, but some didn't tickle my balls. That being the case, before I give you this, before I give you that,
This is a
let's
demonstration
talk
of
about the graveyard, the
Wirecast.
people who didn't make it to the to this point, this far in the project, right? So that would be, we're gonna take a stroll through the World Cheetah Project, Comic Book Wednesday's graveyard, right? And that is Weapon X. All right, X-Men Gold, Spectacular Spider-Man, and we're going to talk about that here in a second. Shout out to Detective Comics. I don't have time to read everything, And I know Detective Comics. I've been hearing really good things about Detective Comics this year, but I just haven't. I wasn't able to pick up. I wasn't able to pick it up. So it's in the graveyard. I think we did one Detective Comics way back early in Comic Wednesdays, but now I wish I had more time to read more books, but I have so many books. It's ridiculous. So X-Men Detective Comics did not make it to the award ceremony. Sorry. All-Star Batman is in the graveyard. Didn't make it to the awards, at least not in a positive way. All right, we'll talk about that later. X-Men Blue. I just recently decided to drop X-Men Blue. And we're gonna talk about X-Men Blue here in a second. But X-Men Blue is in the graveyard as well. Black Panther and the Crew, RIP to you. Suicide Squad, RIP to you. We're gonna talk about that later. Also Action Comics and Teen Titans. And there's a few others who just got dropped, or a certain artist will order them and certain artists left, so I dropped it. And it's just the story just wasn't picking up, and it wasn't my shit, so I had to leave it alone. And it wasn't able to carry with us until this point. So RP to those comics, right? All right. So Ben Reilly, Scarlet Spider #1, and X-Men Blue #12. Both these two books really kind of just like chapped my ass, and I can't really tell why. They really made me angry. And if you go back and look at the particular episodes these books are associated with, that being the case, we're not going to sit here and dissect every book, so always go back and check some of the other things for in-depth reviews on these books. But these books really chapped my ass, and it was just so frustrating. Here's the thing about X-Men Blue. This is the point where X-Men Blue kind of hit rock bottom to me. X-Men Blue was the shit to me when it first came out, especially if you've been keeping up with me, about the Comic Wednesdays. What I've been doing on Comic Wednesdays, but X-Men Blue just started to take this downturn, and it happened somewhere around issue 7 or 8. And this is the rock bottom of it, and it just really frustrated me. Let's see here. The art is it's not cute. The story is confusing, just like any other X-Men story, but it seems to be like even more like extra and what the fuck is for no reason, even more than usual. Like I said, this book probably has like really one good panel in it, but other than that, the art just seems really kiddie and really amateurish to me. Like there's really nothing redeemable about this book. So, and again, this is probably the point where X-Men Blue hit rock bottom. So it was just really frustrating me. Now, Ben Reilly, the Scarlet Spider #1. Now if you look at this panel here, you'd be like, man, what are you talking about? That don't look that bad, right? But this book, man, beyond that panel, the rest of it, to my opinion, I don't like to use this word loosely, it's trash. Especially if we're being a #1, like it's definitely not what I thought I was getting. The story seems wonky. The art seems even more wonky, and it was such a disappointment. But you know what? It wasn't as much of a disappointment as X-Men Blue 12 was, because X-Men Blue started off good. So that being the case, I gotta give worst single issue of the 2017 of the World Cheetah Project of the Comic Wednesday of the Burger Awards. Who gets the worst burger is X-Men Blue #12. It's such a fall off from what it was. It was such a fall off from what it was that I just can't appreciate. It at all. At least X-Men at least Scott Spider started off trash, you know. So that's where my logic is on that. So X-Men Blue number 12. Congratulations, you were the worst single issue of the year of the worst single issue that we read this year. How about that? All right.
Demonstration of
All right.
Wirecast.
Moving forward, worst story arc of the comic book Wednesdays on the World Cheetah Project. All right, and that is Toil and Trouble. Toil and Trouble X-Men Blue, and that's the whole thing we just talked about. I think Toil and Trouble was the beginning of that whole magic shit. When magic jumps into a comic book, more than likely it's not going to be cute. Like, and that's what the problem I have with Doctor Strange, because Doctor Strange is so powerful, and he can do so much in the universe, and he kind of just sits on his ass. And his power scope is so wide that it's really even hard to. If I was an artist or a writer, I would not want to touch Doctor Strange, because he's too much. he's too omnipresent, too omnipotent. It wouldn't be any fun, you know. And then you have to do all the magic stuff, so your story really wouldn't make that much sense, you know, because who understands magic, right? So, so that's the case. X-Men Blue, too much magic, Toil and Trouble, and it just went left. It just went super left. All right, Batman and the Pirates and All-Star Batman, and probably a few things subsequently in All-Star Batman. All-Star Batman was a real disappointment. Shout out to Albuquerque. I'm sorry, I'm really sorry to see his art kind of, I don't want to say go to waste, but you know, be put in that position. Scott Snyder is such a beast, and Scott Snyder is probably stretching himself out so thin that, you know, All-Star Batman was one of those that just kind of got sacrificed in his hustle, you know. But obviously, Scott Snyder has made that up to us in different ways, and we'll get to that. But All-Star Batman was really not what I thought it was going to be. I know they had a good run up at the very beginning, but then, you know, the Pirates got involved, and the Alfred story that could have been good, but that wasn't really all that good. Kind of, I don't know. And I think Albuquerque's art kind of aided in that as well. His art style kind of made it a little bit more draggy than what it was supposed to, I believe. It was just a bad mix with all that for whatever reason. You know, given Scott Snyder's probably supposed heavy workload, and Albuquerque's like kind of like really laid out, you know, art style, that, you know, it probably was wasn't a good mix at the time. But shout out to both of them. They were really fantastic. But, you know, All-Star Batman, okay. And then also Bane, the Bane in the Batman run, and the Kings and Finch's Batman run. All right, so shout out to King and Finch, because we can get to them. They gonna get a lot of props before this episode is over. But the Bane run was just confusing to me. Now the art is really good, but the story is kind of what didn't really sell me on the Bane run. It was kind of repetitive, kind of confusing. So that being the case, the worst story arc of 2017 has to go to Toil and Trouble X-Men Blue. X-Men Blue is such a fall from grace, and again, once you throw magic into the equation, it like I said, you got to be really careful as a writer when you start doing magic. I just don't I don't understand, you know, why any writer really want to come near any kind of magic, you know, like, but that's what it is. X-Men Blue just fell off. It fell off in a big kind of way, and, you know, so we're done with X-Men Blue. Before the season even over, I was kind of on my way to doing that. Just like we kind of left X-Men Gold alone too. But Toil and Trouble X-Men Blue, the worst story arc of this year, by far. All right, worst arc, ARC art. I would say more than likely, I don't know if I have that photo up, but it's Spectacular Spider-Man. Spectacular Spider-Man. Let's see. Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man. Cooper's art in this just didn't tickle my balls. It didn't take me there. I really tried. There were some moments in the Spectacular Spider-Man #1 in the Spectacular Spider-Man where he's fighting the Kingpin, when the Kingpin makes all the copies of himself with the magic orb or the mechanical orb or whatever like that. But as far as
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
consistency in the overall run, I just wasn't into Kubert's art with this Spectacular Spider-Man. It just seemed to be. It just didn't have that juice to me. It don't have that punch to me that I like in my art. I don't. I mean, I know there's probably some people out there appreciate this story, appreciate this art. I'm not one of them. So please comment, let me know why this art is beast to you and why I might be wrong. But for me, this was the most unpolished and lackluster and underwhelming art of the whole project this year. And I was expecting so much more to come from this, story wise and art wise. All right, so and art wise, so worst art is over given runs definitely has to go to Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man. And I mean, I hate to say that, but this is how I feel. Hit me up, comment, Twitter. You know how it is. All right, now let's get into some fun stuff.
This is a demonstration of
now by fun stuff that was really kind of difficult to pull off. All right, as far as getting the nominees picked, and also just that probably was the hardest part of it. But here we are. All right, let's talk about surprise of the year. Surprise of the year. Let's see. Surprise of the year.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Was probably in general anything to do. Nominee number one. In general, anything to do with the Dark Knight, Dark Days, the Metal series. Like, I mean, I know I have the Forge up. We're going to talk about the Forge, but I mean, I'm going to talk about anything involved with this. From the mainstay one, Snyder's and Capullo's, to the big collab ones that they did before, to the one shots. This was such a surprise, and it's such a shock to the whole DC universe. And I did not see this coming. I mean, when I saw it in the preview book, I was like, okay, another DC event, blah blah blah. DC is really going to try to squeeze all they can out of Snyder and Capullo. Like, I don't know if this is going to work. They probably should have let them alone. And who knows if it's going to be in metal. Like, what does that mean? Like, is it going to be they trying to make it hard? Like, what's the marketing for this? But I had all that coming in, and then also the trepidations I had about it was it being too overspanning and too Omega, too outside of the norm as far as Gotham City or Atlantis or Metropolis. It's spanning too wide. The multiverse being too big and too much. I had all the trepidations, but now after reading so much of this, it's such a fantastic ride, and now the Forge makes sense, the casting makes sense. Dark Metal number 1 makes sense. I just got finished reading number 3 yesterday I believe. So that makes sense. So it all makes sense, and it's such a surprise. It was such a surprise. The art, the storyline. That has that's so cavernous and turn for turn, you don't know where it's going. Snyder's really putting on for that. And so are the one shots. So that's been a big surprise. All right, so Dark Knight's Metal, the whole shebang has been a surprise. What else was a surprise this year? Batman the White Knight. Huge surprise. Huge surprise. I don't know what else to say. It's such a unique look into Batman, and we've been getting that all year. This has been a fantastic year of Batman, like not just comic books in general, but Batman. And Batman obviously probably going by the end of this is going to dominate all this because there's been so many good Batman stories, and this is up there, one of the best of this year. And it was such a surprise. I saw it in the preview book. I was like, this might be some side story shit that I can mess around with while I try to figure out some other stuff that I can really be hype about. And this was what I could really be hype about. It ended up being that. I can't wait to see what happens with number 3, and I can't wait to see what happens this going forward. But the number 1 and number 2 has been a huge surprise. The art, the story, the concept. it's been a huge surprise. All right, so shout out to Batman White Knight, one of the surprises of the year. Also a surprise of the year. I don't know if I have a picture of this up.
This
Is
is a
Batman in the
demonstration
Shadow.
of Wirecast.
Batman in the Shadow was a huge surprise. I mean, because and that was a gamble. That was a dice roll for me too, because I didn't know what to expect with Batman in the Shadow. This is my first meeting with Rossmo, who we gonna talk about later, who was a beast. And man, the art on there is so wavy and it's so different than anything else is out there that you have to automatically like that book. And the story is not that bad. The story is not that bad coming off of it either. And it's another Batman and Joker story, but
This is a
it just
demonstration of Wirecast.
it wraps everything together pretty well. In the last Rossmo Batman in the Shadow really kind of wrapped everything up as well too. So as far as a culminating thing, so that was a huge surprise. Another comic book that was a huge surprise this year that I had no idea where the fuck came from, and I was really like kind of like up and down about it at first. But then I kind of just fell in love with it. It's Jean Grey. Jean Grey has been such a surprise this year, such a left hook. The art has been really good. The story has been really good, and there's been some kind of wonky parts in it, but for the most, this has been a left hook. I mean, or uppercut out of nowhere. It's been really good. So check that out too. So another surprise of the year. Pushing forward to more surprise of the year is Venom. Venom was such a surprise, but even I think Venom is starting to take a step back a little bit as far as his punch is concerned. But when I first picked up Venom, I was like, bro, what is this? You know, like this is what I've been missing out on. Like it was the art in the Venom is really what sells it. The art is just outstanding from Venom. I don't know what Venom that is. But all the way up until the Venom that we're reading now, I think that's Venom from Venom number 5, maybe number 4, number 5, somewhere in there, all the way up to what we're reading now. It's just been really good, and I really appreciate it. All right, now, let's see. What's also was really good was the super surprising this year, and anybody who's been keeping up with the project knows where this is in my heart, and I don't know where it's gonna end up before this is over because I still some decisions have to make on the fly here. But man, shout out to Super Sons. Super Sons is such a surprise because it's one of those comic books that you when you hear about it, you hope it's really good, but you know that it might not be as good as you wanted it to be. But this comic book didn't do that. It's just as good as I thought it was gonna be, if not better. And I was on hate mode on this for the first issue or so. But after I got used to the art style and I got used to the storytelling style that they're doing here, man, this is fantastic. Super Sons has been. I'll give Super Sons is the hands down the most consistent out of anything so far that we've read this year. Out of any run, out of any art, out of any story, Super Sons has not let up. It has not slacked off. It gives it to you every issue with some bomb ass art. Shout out to Jimenez and good stories and good colors and man. Super Sons was such a surprise because it was the book that I thought it was going to be and more. So that's why I was such a surprise, because I saw Super Sons on the roster coming up. I was like, man, I'm gonna sign up for this, man. I got my fingers crossed that it's gonna be good, and my wish got granted, and it was better than I thought it was gonna be. So shout out to Super Sons, shout out to Jimenez. You are my favorite artist now, so man, this was fantastic. Alrighty, another surprise this year. This is a big category, and I'm not exactly sure who's gonna pull this one out. Another surprise this year. Sorry, looking for the picture here. Is Champions. Man, the art on this has been fantastic. The art is what really sells me on this book. I mean, they came with some good stories every now and then too. I'm not exactly sure how I feel about most of the stories, but and I'm kind of late with Champions. I just recently got to number 1, but I'm missing everything from like number 1 to 10, so I really can't comment that much on what the story is. But I can comment what the art is. The art's been fantastic, and it's been such a surprise. Like I wish I was on this from day one. But Champions is a huge surprise. Huge surprise. All right, and then also the last surprise of the year was the Dark Prince Charming, a
This is a
hardcover. We talked about
demonstration
that
of
in a
Wirecast.
previous comic book Wednesday. I just I was really I really really was really really pleased about that as well. So that was a big surprise as well. So who surprised me the most? What is kind of like the breakout book surprise of the year breakout book? Um, man, this one's really really tough. But let's see.
This is a
I would
demonstration
have
of
to give it
Wirecast.
to the Dark Knight. I mean the Batman Metal series. I mean, I, I didn't really want to do that, but it's just you know speaking of the unexpected and the punch you in the face and the
This is a
bring you into
demonstration
some
of
deep shit.
Wirecast.
As far as your favorite superheroes are concerned. Just the scope of the story alone, really probably made that for me here. I don't know, I don't know what else to say. I really wanted to give it to Super Sons, but the Super Sons story's been fantastic, but it doesn't take you to the spot that the Dark Knight, Dark Days stuff has taken us to. Um, but
This is
probably
a
in a close second
demonstration
was
of
Super Sons. It
Wirecast.
was between those two. It was between those two as surprise of the year, seriously. But everybody else in the surprise of the year they just really punched me in the gut and really made me kind of like was like wow. I didn't know this was coming out. I didn't know this artist is getting down like this. Like fuck. Where have I been? Everybody in this category really made me feel that way. It's just the dark Scott Snyder and whatever they have going on, and all the other artists who's been participating. It's been a gut punch every time.
This
Every
is a
time we'll get to
demonstration
that.
of
All right.
Wirecast.
Disappointment of the year. Disappointment of the year. We already talked about a few, so I think you kind of know where we're going with this. Um, X-Men Blue, X-Men Gold, Gotham City Garage, and Spectacular Spider-Man. And there might be a few others that I'm kind of leaving off the table, but those are the main ones that come to my attention
This
as
is a
far as like,
demonstration of
man, I thought they were going to be
Wirecast.
legit, and they really turned out to be nah. Like, um, who's the most disappointing out of those four? X-Men Gold. X-Men Gold was probably the most disappointing out of all those. We haven't talked about Gotham City Garage yet on the project. I think we're going to get there at some point, but I've finished reading the Gotham City Garage up to this point. I think I might be done with that. It's not going really the way I thought it was going to go. And we already talked about Spectacular Spider-Man, X-Men Blue. At least
This is a
Spectacular
demonstration of
Spider-Man and X-Men Blue gave
Wirecast.
me some good issues. X-Men Gold really never did. Like from its beginning, it really kind of never did. X-Men 1 was probably the best one. X-Men Gold #1 is probably the best one, and then ever since then, it was kind of just like WTF. It was in WTF land. Um, so X-Men Gold is seriously probably the most disappointing thing that happened this year. That was supposed to be beast and it wasn't. When I saw the reviews, when I saw it in the preview books and I saw the panels of the hell, I was like,
This is
man,
a
this is probably gonna be kind of
demonstration of
hard.
Wirecast.
But it's nah. It wasn't hard. X-Men Blue ended up being the better one for a while until X-Men Blue started doing some magic shit and fucked themselves all over. All right. So disappointment of the year, X-Men Gold. And if you've been keeping up the project, you probably saw that coming, okay? Let's see. The next category is best #1. So who really put their best foot forward on their first issue
This
to
is a
really set the shit off and
demonstration
really
of
set the stage for what it was going to
Wirecast.
be going forward. Alrighty, so best #1, and not even just that as a single standalone issue, as it with a #1 on the side of it. On the top right corner, number one. What was the best issue that had a #1 on the side on the side corner of it? Art, story, whatever. All right, so we're getting some heavy stuff now. First nominee, Astonishing X-Men #1. Astonishing X-Men #1 really blew me away when I read it, because not only was it such a surprise, and that probably should have been on a surprise list as well as too. So you have to bear with me on that. It was the art. The art blew me away. The art in Astonishing X-Men #1 is probably some of the most beautiful art that we have this year. This artist deserves a lot of credit, and that is, let's see, the pencil, Jim Chung. It's fantastic art. This is up there as some of the best art of the year. So we'll probably gonna bring this back here before too long. But and then not even just that, it just set the mold for something like the really like dense to happen. It was just such a good walk forward. Like, I'm looking at the panels right now. This panel with Psylocke and Angel, and man, all the colors. Who was the inker on this, or the colorist on this? Because they deserve a lot of credit too. Richard Isanove and Ryan Barreto are the color artists, and also Mark Morales, Guillermo Ortega, and Walden Wong were the inkers. Man, everybody came together in such a fantastic collaboration on this, that it just really set the stage. Like, Astonishing X-Men is some of the best art you ever going to see in the book. Astonishing X-Men #1 is some of the best art you ever going to see in the book, hands down. You heard it here. Like, all the characters look so fleeked out, all the colors are fleeked out, the action is wavy. Psylocke is in it. She's my favorite X-woman. And and then at the end you got Professor X all chained up. This was a beast ass book. So this one's gonna be a hard one to decide. Especially flipping through it right now. All right. Another best #1. Surprise, right? Dark Days, The Forge #1. Dark Days, The Forge #1. I mean, just off the names alone. I mean, listen to this. Anybody who knows comic books, they already know what it is. But Snyder, Tynion, Lee, Kubert, Romita, Williams, Janison, Mickey, Sinclair. You didn't even have to open the book to realize that it's going to be something one of a kind. But when you do open the book and see how all these talents mix together, especially with Scott Snyder kind of being the line or the knit between everybody, you can really see that this this Dark Knight story wasn't going to be one that really fucking throw to the dog, and everybody just seems to put on. Everybody seems to have their best pencils. Jim Lee brings the heat. I mean, everybody's bringing the heat. Like, Scott Snyder's bringing the heat. Cooper's bringing the heat. Romita's bringing the heat. Everybody's bringing the heat, and it's just really setting something up for something crazy to happen. And here we are. We're all the dark Batmans. We're at the dark multi-universe, and it seemed to be the most hopeless situation that we've ever seen in superhero history, in my opinion, in a comic book. And it was all set up by, Dark Days to Castle and Dark Days to Forge, with all these beastly ass artists involved. And I really appreciate it. So that's the second nominee in this category, which is best #1. All right. Third nominee, and this one was really interesting, and this is where things start getting a little tricky. Give me 1 second here. I gotta find that image. All right, let's see. Generations, Iron Man, Ironheart #1. Even though there's nothing going forward, this is probably was just a one shot. This book was outrageous. It's art, it's story. It just really put us in a whole nother world. Like, seriously. And so this is probably one of the jewels of what Marvel did this year, is the Generations line, and this is probably the best one out of all of them. This book it was a home run. It was a home run in a lot of different ways, and it was a gut check. Again, it was a surprise. I could put a whole bunch of comic books in that
This is a
category, but this
demonstration
book was
of
definitely a surprise
Wirecast.
too. It really brought it home for me as far as damn man, there's some real artists out here. It's still beasting that comic book thing. Comic books ain't dead. Who said that? Because that book really brought it home. Really brought it home. So I would definitely check that out if you can. And it was a big surprise. All right, and it was the art. There was a few different artists on this one as well too.
This is a demonstration of
Um,
Wirecast.
this is because the interesting thing about this is it was a collab. It was a collab effort too. So writer Brian Michael Bendis, pencilers Marco Rudy, Simon Kudransky, Nico Leon, inkers Simon Kudransky, Will Slenley, Scott Koblish, and Nico Leon. Um, a whole bunch of stuff was happening in this book. Probably my favorite panels of this page are the first like couple
This is a
with this
demonstration of
watercolor
Wirecast.
like really dynamic art. And but then other than that though, it switches the mold switches in the art is still beast. It just switches to a different mold. Like this book is really really good. This is probably one of the better books of the year. So how about that? All right. This is a fantastic. Was a fantastic one shot walking in. Now there might be some other things in this that could be in this category that are not. But I don't want to have the same
This
books
is a
repeating the same
demonstration
category.
of
So,
Wirecast.
but that's kind of happened to a certain extent. But then again, it's kind of not because I kind of didn't want it to happen full to that way. All right, the next best number one nominee. Batman the White Knight. Batman the White Knight. Man, I didn't like I said in that episode. I did not know who Sean Murphy was walking in. I know Sean Murphy's been in the game for a while, but I did not know who he was coming into this. But Sean Murphy is an absolute beast, and I'm just really appreciative of what he's bringing to the game here as far as this book's concerned. He really doesn't hold back. This book pulls no punches, in my opinion, and it's like it's legit. It's legit. I'm not exactly sure what I gave the number one, but it's up there. It's up there.
This is a demonstration
the art,
of Wirecast.
the cover, the story. I just don't know what else to say. Not X-Men. Sorry. The Dark Knight number one. The Dark Knight number one. How about that? All right. It really brought it home. Really set it up for some interesting shit to happen with this whole thing. We not only have been getting a lot on Batman this year, we've been getting a lot on the Joker and his pathology or whatever you want to call it, his psychosis. And this book is just another step in that direction. So, alrighty. So between those four, Batman the White Knight, Generations number one, Dark Days of Force number one, and Astonishing X-Men number one. Who is objectively the best burger? Who was the best? The best story, the best art, the best combination of the two, the best cover. All those things we took into consideration. And this was in between those four. It's really difficult.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
So, but as far as a unique, one of a kind thing, it's down to 2 books. And between those 2 books, I have to give it to Astonishing X-Men number one. That was a hard pick. And I picked that on the fly. I'm picking a lot of these on the fly because I really didn't have time to sit down and think about it when I was doing the nominees. But best number one of the year, Astonishing X-Men number one. It was really hard because Generations number one brought a lot of things to the table, and so did Dark Forge number one and Batman White Knight. But it's just something so celestial and so special about Astonishing X-Men's number one product, the end product, that I had to give it credos over anything else. But that was tough.
This
So
is a
get at me. Comment,
demonstration
Twitter. Let
of
me know. All my
Wirecast.
comic book nerds out there, let me know, man. If in between those four, or just in general, the best number one of the year, Astonishing X-Men number one. I had to give it to it. I had to give it to it. It was really hard though between that and Generations number one. Like seriously. But Batman and White Knight came through and made a good fight at it too. That was a battle royale. Like seriously, that was a battle royale between those four. All right. But a couple of those Easter egg, a couple of those we're going to talk about going forward. So a couple of the comic books are not out of the game just yet as far as an award is concerned. All right. Best story, single issue. This one's deep to me, so let's get to that. Let's see. Where are you at? Best story, single issue. Batman number 24. All right. Also, let's talk about Batman 24 for a little bit.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
This was probably the beginning, in a lot of certain ways, this is kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back in a certain expression, a certain instance, on all the shit all the beast ass shit that we started to get with Batman this year. I think before this there was a few things. There was the Detective Comics that was doing his thing, and also the Bane run that we gave a little bit of shine or a little bit of non-shine early in this episode.
Wirecast.
But after this book, there's been so much crazy Batman heat that came out, but this book was like the opening of the floodgates. Like Batman number 24, King and Finch, just really give us a Bruce Wayne story. This is not a Batman story. This is a Bruce Wayne story. What does Bruce want? Who is Bruce Wayne now? How has the Batman changed Bruce?
Of Wirecast.
Can Bruce, blend the two? The struggle between that, or are they always going to be separate entities at each other's, neck to a certain instance? Because the more Batman is happy, the less Bruce is happy. The more Bruce is happy, the less Batman is happy before this issue. But now, in this issue, we get some kind of resolution of that, right? And it's beautiful. And not even just beautiful as far as that's concerned, the concept of the story, but the actual words
is a
and the actual
demonstration
art.
of Wirecast.
This was the first 10 out of 10 on the project, and for damn good reasons. I don't know if a comic book can get any better than this. I really don't. But we have a few others that kind of going to poke the bear on that. But to see Bruce and or Batman potentially finally get some kind of solace and get some kind of peace was enough for me for this year. Like seriously, like I could have been like, okay, I'm done.
Demonstration of Wirecast.
Like this was the truth. The context, the art, the cover. Now, not necessarily the regular cover, but the very. I mean, not like I have both covers. I have the Red and Black cover, and I have this cover. Now, these covers not completely overwhelming, but still, whatever the cover lacks in this particular instance.
Demonstration of Wirecast.
It's crazy. It brings it's all made up for in the book. Every epilogue is a prelude. Like it starts off with some shit like that. So it's gonna be a good book. It's saying some stuff like that, like oh man, what a good book. What a fantastic book. And just a beautiful book. A brilliant, beautiful, beautiful book. All right, Batman number 24. Not only one of the greatest books that we've read this year, but probably one of the greatest Batman stories ever told. All right. The next book I have a lot of the similar things to say about is The Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows number 6 with Stegman on the pins. Stegman is an absolute beast. And that being the case, really sets the mode for this. But shout out to Gary Conway
This is a
the
demonstration of
the
Wirecast.
writer. All right, and this category again is the best story. So I have to take art out of the equation on this one, which is unfortunate because Stegman really does his thing. But the reason why those two are nominated because of the impact and the density of the stories, the way the stories make me feel after I'm done reading it. Um, Lately there hasn't been a lot of hope
This is a
in the
demonstration of
Batman universe
Wirecast.
since Batman 24. But the Batman 24 gave me a lot of hope in what Bruce and or Batman could be. This particular book just brought me back. It brought me back to the 90s, man. It brought me back to, that hope I had when I was a kid, or that excitement I had when I was reading comics when I was a kid. Like, this book, Stegman's art combined with the story just really brought me back to 1997, 1995, 1996. It was just like, it just really, really did. And, I mean, we're not here to talk about
This
art,
is
but
a demonstration
man,
of
the art in this book is
Wirecast.
just unreal. The art in this book is just fucking stupid. Like this, but not even just that though. Like, the way the panels line up against the way the dialogue is set, man, this book is giving it to you. This book is really giving it to you. And again, it really just kind of sets such a tone. The story sets such a tone in my heart with hope and with love and family life, and
This is a
it's just
demonstration of
just good
Wirecast.
shit. It was just good shit, man. This is good shit. This is good shit. So best story of the year, um, Batman number 24, Amazing Spider-Man 006, and then we also have Batman number 22 and Batman number 28. Um, Batman number 28, which was the War of Jokes and Riddles. I don't think I have that picture up. I'm sorry. I don't think that's the one I missed. I was had you know how many pictures I had to get pulled, and so I knew I was gonna miss something. Here's one of them. But um, the War on Jokes and Riddles. This was, which one was this? This was parts. They made they made Gordon strip down naked. And let me see. This was the War of Jokes and Riddles part 3.
This is a
This was a really,
demonstration
really
of
good story.
Wirecast.
Um, uh, it was just really good to see how all this was starting to unfold. But after this point, it kind of starts going up and down. But we see Batman, telling a story and what happened with all this, and in and how he got drove to do what he ends up doing into the story arc. It kind of happened here. So
This
in
is
the
a
next one going
demonstration
forward is
of
actually really good too.
Wirecast.
Batman, the War in Jokes and Riddles was really, really good. It had its ups and had its downs, but I think Batman 28 was probably the jewel of it as far as the story is concerned. Now the art in here is really good too. It's not Finch, but it's still really, really good. All right. And Batman number 22, Joshua Wilkinson. Let's see. Best story, Batman number 22. I think
This is a
Batman number 22
demonstration
might
of
have been a
Wirecast.
button crossover, if I'm not mistaken. Stand by on that. Because I would have to find Batman 22. And right now, that's probably not the best thing to do. Batman 22. Let's see. Yes, Batman 22 was a button crossover. And that was a really, really good story because
This is a
I think
demonstration of
in that
Wirecast.
instance, Bruce has to lose his father again for the second time, or um, they both Batmans are fighting side by side, which is pretty dope too. So that was a really, really good story as well. A lot of emotional context in that one as well, and that's what I looked for on this. Which one out of these made me feel the most as far as the story is concerned. That being the
This
case,
is a
this was a tough running
demonstration of
too. I mean,
Wirecast.
these are all battle royales, like fight to the death, fight to the finish. Um, that being the case, the best story out of all those, Batman number 24. It was really, really close between Batman 24 and Spider-Man 006, but Batman number 24, um, it just it just gave me such a peer into the battle that goes on inside
This
Bruce
is a
between not even
demonstration of
between Bruce
Wirecast.
and Batman, and what Bruce was going to do to try to fix it, try to mend that. Um, it just really pulled at my heartstrings, even more so to take me back to 1996 because I kind of knew what was happening in 1996. I never knew that Bruce could potentially be happy, or that the Batman paradox could be solved. And solved in a woman, right? And that's
This is a
beautiful. That's beautiful.
demonstration of
That's how things
Wirecast.
supposed to go. We're supposed to find ourselves in the other, and who's better? Who's the better other than Catwoman, right? Um, but man, it was a nose finish, like seriously, between that and Renew Your Vow 006 as far as the story is concerned. Um, but now, if we talk about the comic book as a whole, I think the race gets a little tighter at that point. But as far as outright story, Batman 24, I had to give it to it. Had to give it to it. All right, let's push forward. This is Friday. I know you got some other things you want to do here.
This is a demonstration of
Um,
Wirecast.
Best story arc. All right, best story arc. And we just talked about a little bit of one. So, and again, I don't think I have anything up. I don't really have any pictures of that one. So, number one nominee on that category is Batman: The War of the Jokes and Riddles. Fantastic story
This
arc,
is a
fantastic run.
demonstration of Wirecast.
Again, just another beastly Batman story that came out this year. It's kind of like nothing new at this point. So like, I really don't know what else to say. The War of Jokes and Riddles was really, really good. It ended. I think it ended well. There were some points in there that probably kind of got a little confusing or a little dry, but other than that, I don't really see it. I really don't see it. I really don't give it a bad grade. The War of Jokes and Riddles really made it entertaining. Really made an entertaining run.
This
A really
is a
entertaining push at
demonstration
it.
of Wirecast.
So I would definitely that's definitely in the run. All right. What else is in the run? Run of the best story arc. Duh. And I fucking hated the Dark Knights, the Metal series. Like, man, like, and who knows where this is gonna end up? So it's fucking annoying that this book keeps coming up, right? But or that story arc keeps coming up. But here we are. All right. And then also,
This is
what
a
was also a beast
demonstration of
run, and it's the first time
Wirecast.
we actually talk about this in this, and as far as the actual nominee is concerned, well, maybe the second time, is the button event. The button event was beast. The button event was unreal. It was really, really good. Um, Even though it didn't last that
This
long,
is
it
a
was still a
demonstration
really,
of
really good
Wirecast.
piece of work. All right, who else is in this category? I have to find it. Sorry about that. Bunch of pictures in here again. It is Super Sons, the Kid Amazo arc. Um, Man, that was fantastic. That was just the beastly ass run. Really don't know what else to say about that
This
either.
is a
So,
demonstration of Wirecast.
best story arc. Now, this is art aside. Um, I'll have to give it to Super Sons. Kid story arc. Just because there was no flaws in it. There was no let up. There was no missteps in that whole situation. with the Dark Knights, I can call out maybe one or two kind of like, oh,
This
okay,
is a
like
demonstration
what we
of
got, what are we doing here, kind
Wirecast.
of deal. And that was just the way the story was told, but that's not Super Sun's fault. And then also, the button was such a short run that I really couldn't give it over the run that was Super Sons. And the War Jokes and Riddles was next, probably the next best thing. But the War Jokes and Riddles had its missteps. It wasn't. Super Sons. The Kid Amazo arc is as close to flawless as you get as a story is concerned. Writing, concept is as close to flawless as you can get between those four. So, congratulations to you,
Demonstration of Wirecast.
Super Sons. Best story arc of the year. The Kid Amazo run. All right, and I think we are here. We are the big dog of the year. Comic book of the year, single issue. All right. There's a lot to discuss on this one, and I'm not really exactly sure how I'm gonna go. All right. Um, let's see. Let me see. Just make sure everything I want in here is in here.
This is a
But
demonstration of Wirecast.
but shout out to Super Sons. Like I said, the most consistent of the year, the best team of the year, the best, the best story arc, the best. Overall, in general, Super Sons is the best of this year as far as its collaboration is concerned, its consistency, the run in general. We're talking about multiple issues, spanning multiple issues. Super Sons is the best. Now,
This is a
spanning
demonstration of Wirecast.
Art Jimenez, that's where we're at. Oh, before we get into comic book of the year, sorry, there's one more thing. There's one more thing. Sorry, I'm glad I didn't jump into that right away, because then I would have turned the mic off and I've been really mad at myself. We have best artist of the year. Sorry, best artist of the year. Gerardo Sandoval in Venom.
This is a
Let me
demonstration
see.
of Wirecast.
Let's see. Beast ass work. Like the art in this book is unreal. Like, and he's been putting down underground heat for a minute with his Venom stuff. We've been talking about Venom for a little while, and every time Sandoval is on it, it's just unreal. The art is just ridiculous. It's the kind of art I really really like. It's really got really hard lines. The colors are bright and kind of dark at the same time, if you know what I mean.
This is a demonstration
and, like I said,
of
the cuts are really hard. Like, man, shout out to you, Sandoval. Who else? Who else is in this mix? Even though obviously Greg Capullo wasn't in this book, but we're talking about the standard dark metal run. The 1 through 6 that him and Scott Snyder are doing. Greg Capullo has been knocking that shit out the park. Like, it's been unreal. His art has been ridiculous. It's been crazy. All right, and then
is a demonstration
the man,
of Wirecast.
the beast, David Finch. David Finch's work tells a story on its own. Like, David Finch, like we really don't need the words here, but the words, again, as we said, in that category, really kind of set the shit off. It kind of give you that extra punch. But you could do this book without words. You could do this book without words and still gain the whole inference. And that's what's crazy about David Finch's work.
This is a demonstration
Howard
of
Porter
Wirecast.
with the Flash. Howard Porter's been wrecking shit all this year. Howard Porter's been destroying shit. His art is so futuristic to me that it's really, really hard for me to pick between these guys. And then also, who else do we have? We have Jimenez, Super Sons. Jimenez, Super Sons art is out of this park.
This is a
It's
demonstration of
so
Wirecast.
relatable, and it's so edible. As like, I would love to have Jimenez like do an anime or just like commission him to do some off topic, like just Robin and Superboy or Robin shit for me, because Damien's my favorite Robin, and he's just nailing Damien. That story team is just nailing Damien. They're nailing Superboy. they're just nailing it. And Jimenez, I think Jimenez is the anchor in
Of
all that. His
Wirecast.
art is just really keeps all that stuff grounded or even in the air, if you want to call it that way, man. Jimenez is a beast. Um, they're them five are in the running for best artist of the year, and it's really tough. It's really tough. But man, who do I give the award to?
This
And
is
this
a
is over the whole
demonstration
run.
of
This is over the
Wirecast.
over there. This is not a single issue thing. This is just the best. Who do you want? Who do you want to have? Who would you rather have it as? I wanted to put Tony Daniel on this, but Tony Daniel hasn't been on the mainstay. He's been jumping back and forth between a lot of things. Shout out to Tony Daniel as well, who's my favorite artist. But a lot of these artists are right up there in his league as well. And if I had to pick one, if I had to pick one,
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
I have to give it to David Finch, man. I think I had to do it. I had to give it to him. Um, David, he like I had to like, and it's just off the run in general.
This
Like
is a
not
demonstration of Wirecast.
not just the Batman 24, but his work with the Bane, and his work with some of the other stuff going forward after Batman 24. His art is unreal to me. And it's just such like so concrete and so dense and so titanium that it's just um like I said, it's probably not as edible as Jimenez, but
This is a
it's
demonstration of
it's got so much force behind it that it's so. I mean, Greg Capullo, man, his art has been really good. His art is really wavy as well. His art reaches such a broad spectrum of different things. Sandoval's art is kind of, I feel like, it's really specialized. Jimenez art is kind of really specialized, I would say, but kind of more on the same wavelength as Greg
This
Capullo's.
is a demonstration of
But
Wirecast.
this year, I had to, David Finch. I was flipping through some of these things. I was like, man, I don't know if I can refute David Finch on this. Like, I mean, but it was hard. It was hard to put him over Howard Porter. It was hard to put him over Jimenez. It was hard to put him. It was really hard to put him over Capullo, and it's not Sandoval. But I had to pick somebody. So let me know. Let me know. Let me know. Best in book art single issue. Um, Astonishing X-Men #1. We talked about we talked about that, right? Let's see. Astonishing X-Men #1. Let's see. Batman #20. Batman #24. All right. That's not Batman 24. Batman #24. And then let's say Dark Days Dark Days the Forge. Dark
This
Days the
is a
Forge, right?
demonstration of Wirecast.
Suicide Squad #16. Let's see. Venom #6. And sorry, I think I had the microphone turned off on the previous one on that. That was my fault. I got a lot of pictures here, so I think it's on that one now.
This
And then
is a
Spider-Man Renew
demonstration
Your
of
Vows
Wirecast.
#6. Um, this one was really tough. This one was really tough. You have artists. You have artists in here. You have Tony. You have Tony Daniel. You have Stegman. You have Sandoval. You have Finch. You have Jim Chung. Ibanez on Jean Grey #3. Um, like
This is a
The art on
demonstration
these
of
the art on these
Wirecast.
particular books is unreal. Like, and I'm really unfortunate that I did myself this way and put so many into this because I only want to pick one. Um, so man, again, really really tough. I mean, you have
This is a demonstration of
so many
Wirecast.
so many good lines and so many good panels in these particular books. Again, Tony Daniel. I don't know if anybody does work better than Tony Daniel. Like, but then again, you know, you have Stegman here, um, and then you have Finch, and I could have probably brought Tony Murphy into this too. You know, or not Tony Murphy, Sean Murphy. Sorry, probably could have brought him into this too
This
because
is a
because of
demonstration of Wirecast.
the Batman, the White Knight shit, like beastly. You know, this is such a tough call. This is such a tough call. If you haven't seen the Ibanez 03 during Jean Grey, I would. I don't know what else to tell you. That was a really good. That was some really good art there too. Um,
This is a
let's leave
demonstration
the
of
story out of
Wirecast.
this. All right, we're just talking about the art, and this is one I really should have thought about coming into this. I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say the best single issue art of 2017 goes to
This
The
is a
Amazing
demonstration
Spider-Man
of
006
Wirecast.
Renew Your Vows. That was a tough call because we sung a lot of praises on Astonishing X-Men #1. Ibanez on Jean Grey that's a ridiculous piece of work. Obviously, Finch's work in Batman 24. Dark Days the Forge is really hard to call that one because there were so many people involved with that one, but that was on the table. Sean Murphy's on the table. Suicide Squad #16, Tony Daniel. That was just Venom #6, Spider-Man Renew Vows.
Of
If I had to pick a second on this one, it probably would be Suicide Squad 16, Tony Daniel. But man, The Amazing Spider-Man Renew Vows #6. Like I said, I had to give it some kind of love, and I don't think I'm wrong here. The Stegman's art on this is something to be cherished. It really is. There's a particular panel on here that really sold me, and I don't know. There's no page numbers in comic books, but it's a panel, and I'm like, I don't want to say the middle of the book, but close to the middle of the book. But around the middle of the book where it really sells it. And there's this panel where it's like this cherry blossom kind of tree. Rogue is flying. Iceman is doing his thing, surfing on ice or whatever, and then it's just these really beautiful panels. And then then you have the '90s style X-Men. And then the whole time you have all these like cherry blossom or petals floating around the whole. Man, this shit is beast. This shit is beast. Stegman absolutely does his thing. All his characters look so great. All the emotions look so great. And beyond that, we get a happy Wolverine. When did we ever see that? So I had to go with that one, but I mean, it could have been anything out of those four. I mean, Sean Murphy, out of Sean Murphy, Tony Daniel, Finch, who we gave best artist of the year. It could have been anybody. So let me know. So, and I almost left here without doing those two categories. That would really made me upset. All right, so now comic book of the year. Sorry, let's do this so we can get you out of here. Anybody who's been sticking in this long, man, you're a saint. And I really appreciate you. Let me know. Comment. Let me know what you did. Comment. Let me know what you thought, and you'll make the special list, no doubt. Please, please and believe. All right.
This is a
Comic
demonstration
book of
of
the year.
Wirecast.
I think we know where this is going. All right. So, what really fucked all this up is um the whole metal stuff. The metal stuff really came through and kind of wrecked this whole thing. and made it really really difficult to get this off the ground because I didn't really know where to put the metal stuff, especially the stuff with a whole bunch of the ones in before with a whole bunch of collaborations on it. But even after that,
This
all
is
the
a
one shots
demonstration of Wirecast.
really made this difficult. Especially when it comes to this category. So let me push forward on that. All right, first issue, best issue of the year, comic book of the year, single comic book of the year. Not run, just single issue of the year. Best book of the year. Everything included. Art, artist, story, impact, emotional value, action, all of it. The whole
This
shit.
is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Overall. Obviously, right? Batman number 20, Batman number 24. King, Finch, and Mickey. Let me speak on Danny Mickey for a second before we get out of here. Danny Mickey, I don't know how much credit he gets or doesn't get, but any viable comic book that's been worth anything in the last 5 years, Danny Mickey's probably had something to do with it. He's probably one of the most unsung heroes in all of comic bookdom. And he's a beast, all right. But also shout out to how do you say my man's name? Hold on a second. Is it Glopion? Glapion? He's probably in that same lane too. But Danny Mickey, but I'm talking about Danny Mickey. Shout out to him too though. But Danny Mickey, shout out to you, Danny Mickey. I don't know how much credit you get or don't get, but you've been beasting shit for a long time, bro. You deserve a lot of credit. Any major comic books that's worth anything like over a 9, a 10 out of 10, those kind of comic books, Danny Mickey probably has something to do with it. And here we are. Batman number 24. King, Fitch, Mickey, Man, and Bel Air. Fantastic issue. We spoke enough on that. Jean Grey number 4. I don't know if I have that particular photo up. I don't know if I have that photo in here. But this is the cover for the number 3 that we talked about. But for Jean Grey number 4. Jean Grey number 4 is in the running. All right. Jean Grey number 4 was a really, really good read. Hopeless, Tilabio, and Ramos. I think it was the one with. I think it was the Thor crossover. That book was really really good, and that probably was a surprise pick because, we didn't really sing a whole bunch of Jean Grey praises coming in to this, or even in this episode. We didn't sing praises on a lot of different things, but not necessarily Jean Grey, right? But yeah, it's the Thor crossover. In where Jean Grey seeks out Thor's counsel on how to level up and beast her shit up so she can potentially fight off the Phoenix, the reincarnation of Phoenix, right?
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
That all sounds pretty simple, but the way everything's delivered and her interaction with Thor and the art in this book is really really good. And how the story lays over it, one of the best issues of the year, like hands down. I would definitely investigate that. All right, but yeah, so. That's in the running as well. So I know this is the Jean Grey number 3 that I have up right now, but number 4 is the one that's nominated. All right. Flash number 21.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Hands down, everything considered: art, cover, artist, writer, pacing, panels, everything considered. Definitely hands down one of the best books of the year. Flash 21. Really gives it to you. Howard Porter really, really brings it home with this, and this is when I really became a Howard Porter. When I signed on Team Howard Porter, like, and became one of his fanboys. Like, I'll follow Howard Porter anywhere. Like, Howard Porter can be drawn
This is a
stick figures, and I probably
demonstration
bought a
of
comic because there
Wirecast.
could be some Beast at stick figures. Because I don't know if this man can do anything on Beast. Like Howard Porter's work is fantastic. Uh, it's it's damn near 3D. Like I don't know what else to say. It's high definition. It's crazy. It's unreal. I'm and then not even just that. This particular button story was really really good. So I would look back on past comic book reviews to see how so, but
This is a
this
demonstration
is a
of
really
Wirecast.
really good Batman and Flash story. And like I said before, man, Batman and Flash just work. They just work together. I like them better than I like Batman and Superman because Batman and Flash to me, and I think I said that in the last episode, in the episode that we brought up this book, kind of like how like Fabulous and Wale. Like every time Fabulous and Wale are together, there's no way those two can lose. Like there's just something about the way they mix, the way their particular attributes are. Two of my favorite artists, when they get together, it's not a miss. Same
This
thing with
is a
Batman and the
demonstration
Flash.
of
There's been some Batman and
Wirecast.
Superman that's been misses, but when Batman and the Flash come together, it's just something about their power sets that make the shit pop off. you know, and Flash 21 was such a big step in that direction, and everything about Flash 21, it was just really 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 good. So in the running for best issue of the year, no doubt about that. All right, um, let's see.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Amazing Spider-Man, renew your vows 006. How about that? Surprise. Um, Everything about this book, the story, the art, the context, the emotional value, the panels, the way the panels move, the way the story lays over the art, the way the art lays over the story, the cover, um, everything about this, it's it's up there as one of the best issues of the year.
This is a demonstration of
Let's
Wirecast.
see. What else do I have for you? I have. Let me see if I can find it. If not, I'll have to pull up the other picture. All right. Batman the White Knight #2. The #2 of Batman and the White Knight. I know this is the cover for #1, but for some reason I don't have the #2 cover in here, and I could have swore
Demonstration
I
of
pulled that picture.
Wirecast.
But Batman the White Knight #2. Very, very good read. Very, very good read. Really gives you a good emphasis on the fuckhead you're dealing with when it comes to the Joker, and just really gives us a different look on their interaction, on Batman and Joker's interaction. It's not your plain stoic look. It's a different take. It's a different take on everything. Um, it's a different perspective. So the art's fantastic. The
This
cover is
is a
fantastic.
demonstration of Wirecast.
Man, great book. Batman Lost. And this is where the shit gets complicated because Batman Lost was another 10 out of 10 this year on the project, and here we are. Yeah, Batman Lost. So Dark Metal tie-in. Dark Metal's, like I said, just really kind of just shat on, kind of try to shit on everybody with all that stuff. But this was a really really good read too. Everything about this book.
This is a demonstration of
That's one of the more recent
Wirecast.
comic book reviews, so I would definitely check that one out as well. Batman, the Batman Who Laughs, Dark Knight shit, right? Man, I recently did a review on this one. A review that I guess in a hater ass comment wasn't a review, but whatever on that. Um, this book, as far as emotional value, definitely
Demonstration of
made you walk away
Wirecast.
feeling some kind of way. Um, in with that alone, you know, is in the mix. It's just from the magnitude of what it's talking about, and what happens to arguably the greatest superhero of all time in this particular book. And then Rosmo, Rosmo is again showing his weight in this game with this particular issue. So
This is a
Man, that was good
demonstration
stuff.
of
All right.
Wirecast.
And then also one more. We have one more in this category. I made this hard on myself. Batman, the Devastator, #1. Tony Daniel brings his A game on this, but I don't think there's never really a time Tony Daniel doesn't bring his A game, but you definitely can't say it was this issue. Tony Daniel really brings it home with this, and it's kind of on the same. It's kind of on the same lane
This
as
is a demonstration of
the
Wirecast.
Batman Who Laughs, as far as its density and its impact on what's happening in the book, and what's happening to arguably the greatest superhero of all time. It's just hard to watch. It's hard to watch. It's but you can't take your eyes off it at the same time. And the art really is really a big part of all that. I think you take Tony Daniel out of this book, this book is not nearly as enticing.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
And almost probably the same thing with Rossmo. Rossmo seems to have a really good take on who the Joker is, and he did that on in Batman in the Shadow. So it made sense for Rossmo to be on that one, and it made a lot of sense for Tony Daniel to be on the one involving Superman, because Tony Daniel, man, come back to Superman or come back to Wonder Woman. One of those two at some point. I know you're gonna do Damage. Damage is gonna be really, really good, but come back to one of those two at some point, man. Then I'll be all about Superman and or Wonder Woman at that point. I don't think everybody has their one, and I think Tony Daniel, Superman and or Wonder Woman is his shit. Like his pencil, the way his mind works really, really well to their power set. And so the Devastator was just Doomsday, Batman, Spider-Man, Batman, Doomsday, Batman, Superman was all up in his lane. And we got all that. We got all that with this.
This is a demonstration of
story,
Wirecast.
art, context, really, really made it work with Batman and Devastator. Now, who do I pick? Single issue comic book of the year, man. This is just as hard as anything. Man, I kind of almost want to say I'm gonna get back to you on this, but that'd be kind of fucked up, right?
This
Can't
is a
do
demonstration of Wirecast.
Man. We talk about overall, right? Out of all those,
This
all right.
is a demonstration
So in my head, I have it down to 2. I have it down to Flash 21, and then I have it down to Batman 24. That was really hard to break it down to those two. Anybody want inferences on how I did that in my mind just now? How I got down from everything to just those two? Please feel free to email, Twitter. Always check out the website as well, the RoadCheetahProject.net. And let me know how you feel about all this stuff in some way or another. Comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. But between those two, it's already up. Batman 24. Batman 24 is the single best issue of the comic book of the year. It was really close. It was really close between Amazing Spider-Man 006, Flash 21, and Batman 24. The reason why anything else didn't cross over to that finish line, again, hit me up on Twitter, email me, comment, and we'll have a discussion about that. Why? But man, I had to go with Batman 24. It not normally was the first 10 out of 10 on the project.
Of
It just makes sense. It just makes sense in a lot of different ways, and the enormity of it. The Amazing Spider-Man 006 is really, really beautiful, and easily, if I was feeling any differently, could have won out. But there was really nothing. There's really nothing really real at stake happening in that particular book that changes things for a prolonged period of time going forward. It's just a really, really good standalone story, but not really having any really huge implications going forward. The next issue in that book is not nearly as good. And it doesn't really connect to all that flushly. The Flash 21 is just, there's a lot happening in Flash 21, and not necessarily with the art. The art just really pops out, but Batman sees his father again for the second time, or since his father died, and there's just this big button event going on in the background of all this, right? Time travel, all that stuff. But then, we spoke a lot on Batman 24 going into this, and it not only being the first 10 out of 10 on the project, still just the impact of the story, the potential happiness of Batman that we just really don't get any kind of inference on up until this point. And and what this book meant for Batman going forward, and then it potentially being the floodgate for everything else is happening for Batman. It's being that open that gateway book.
This is a demonstration of
DC that DC had and planned for Batman, before this year even started. So I could be wrong. I think Jean Grey #4, it really, really deserved the spot on the nominee. So did White Knight #2. Batman lost. The Batman Who Laughs, Batman the Devastator. Yeah, here we are. Best comic book of the year, 2017. Batman, Batman #24.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
It kind of dominated. Honorable mentions: Renew Your Vows #1, The Casting, Dark Days, Flash #24, and I'm sure there's a few other honorable mentions that I need to get across. Champions #12, Teen Titans #10, Batman #25, Batman #29, Suicide Squad 16. We talked about that a little bit. Flash 24, Champions 11, Teen Titans 9.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Super Son 6, Super Son 7, Batman the Murder Machine, Batman the Drown, Batman the Merciless, Batman the Red Death, Batman the Dawnbreaker. And then also, let's see, before we get out of here, I'm not sure
this is a demonstration of Wirecast.
What I did with that category, but I also had a category for best cover of the year, but I don't know where that's at. So I guess we'll leave that to the imagination. I think we spoke enough on this one. Probably the longest episode I've ever done on YouTube. Probably the longest it's ever going to be on YouTube. Not sure if anybody's ever going to make it to the end of this. But, oh well. Que sera, sera. Said I was going to do it, I did it. That was, and I knew it was going to be this extensive. So shout out to you. I'll say cover the years between
this is a demonstration of
Batman the
Wirecast.
Dawnbreaker, Champions 12, and Teen Titans 10. But then also in that mix is Amazing Spider-Man 006, Flash 21.
This is a demonstration
Batman 28.
Of Wirecast.
Spirits of Vengeance #1, and Batman the White Knight #2. So I mean, there's a few things we talk about on covers, but I'm out of here. All right, take care of yourselves. The Real Cheetah Project. Thank you so much. Rosary Life all day, Squad all day. Shout out to all the AMV, Go Flex Squad again. Overmind, Petruco Knight, Carefree X, Rian, Sama, Channel Rua, the whole team, everybody's been put supporting so far, commenting. I thank you so much. We're getting to the end of the World Cheetah Project Season 1, so big up to everybody who's been putting on and showing the boy love. I really, really appreciate it. All right, and then again, it's Ave Maria Squad all day, Tekkadan Squad all day. Shout out to the boy Kyrie Irving as well. And then you know how it is, the World Cheetah Project, man. Thank you so much. Always subscribe. Hit me up on Twitter. Hit me up on the podcast, on iTunes, on Stitcher. And that'll do it for 2017 for Comic Book Wednesday as far as the what's potent and what's not. I mean, I'll be back, but it'll be kind of the off season, so anything that I do in between now and January, is just going to be in kind of like a la la land. So, but oh well, anyways, we'll see you next time on the World Cheetah Project. Thank you so much. See you later.